Well, hi folks, I'll just give you another fortnightly roundup. I can't believe it's been a fortnight since my last one. I tried to do it, it's about 8:30 at night now. Last knockings of sun. I was trying to do it when the cars were quiet so you wouldn't hear the car noise, but unfortunately you'll probably hear the cars. So anyway, here we go. Set off with the potatoes, which are now growing away really well. So, but one thing, we had a grass frost last night, apparently it said on the news, 2 degrees. So I was coming up here tonight thinking, oh god, they're going to be absolutely ruined, but thankfully it must have just been just that 1 degree warmer than it needed to be to freeze them. So I've got another one forecast tonight, but I'm not too worried. But there's not a lot you can do. I can't be covering stuff up at this size. But like I said, they are starting to grow now, which is, it's about time really, because I planted them at the 1st of April, so they've been in about 9 weeks. Garlic, it's been taking a real battering with the winds we've had lately. We've had some real gale force winds, unseasonably strong winds, like 50-60 mile an hour winds. But they're pretty robust, quite strong leaves. They'll just flap about and not take too much harm. I planted my second lot of lettuces, which I actually sowed a month after those. That's how slowly things have been growing outside. So they nearly caught those up, growing inside. So it's supposed to warm up in the next week at last, so hopefully we should start seeing a bit of growth, a bit of a growth spurt, and then no doubt we'll have about 40 lettuces ready all at the same time. But it's just good to see stuff starting to grow actually after such a long time. Same thing with the shallots, they've just not moved in the last sort of 3 weeks since I planted them, because it's been, like I said, so cold, windy, but hopefully they should perk up as well. It's the same story with everything apart from in the polytunnel. Cabbages should start to move, growing a little bit. They're the Savoy cabbage, and some of the mini Savoys are looking a little bit bigger actually. You probably can't see because of this light on it. Right, peas grew really well in the polytunnel before I planted them out, and like everything else, as I keep banging on about, they just sort of stopped growing. But they're starting to perk up a bit now. They're probably 18 inches tall. Last year they were up here at this time with peas on. So as you can see, we're still absolutely miles behind. It's going to be a short season this year, I think. They're the first spring onions I planted out, and again I planted some a month later and grew them in the polytunnel, and I've just planted those out thinking I was going to get a successional crop, but the first ones just didn't move. So we're going to have a big glut of everything, it seems, that I've sowed successionally. So that's one of the beds outside. We'll just have a look in at another bit. So finally, June the 10th, or whatever the date is, my poppies have just started to come out. That's really, really late for me, that. Like I said in the last video, they should have been out sort of mid-May time. There's plenty to come anyway, so should make a good show when they all start to pop out. Got a few more potatoes in some bigger pots. I'm trying to get a really big pot out of this one, but it's really slow for some reason. It's in a big sort of 60-litre pot. But what I've noticed this year is the dreaded mare's tails come. I don't know where on earth it's come from, and there must have been a little bit in the bed last year. It's only in this one little bed, and I did dig it over, so I've probably done the worst thing you can and chopped it up into little bits. So there's no alternative with this stuff but to glyphosate it, you know, like put wheat Roundup on it, quite strong stuff, because if you try and dig it out you've no chance and you just spread it even more. So disappointing to get that, but it's popping up everywhere, so I'm going to have to get rid of it slowly and steadily. So every time I see a bit pop up I'll just glyphosate it, and that'll hopefully get rid of it. Right, the potato in the sand needs topping up actually, but it's growing as well as the rest. Look, sand and fertiliser. It's probably dry as a bone. It's not too bad actually, so that's interesting. I thought it might be an abject failure, but it's not doing too badly. Just to show you how far behind we are, I know I keep banging on about it. Chives just coming out now in June, nearly the middle of June, and the chives are not even out, because I remember last year they were out really early and the bumblebees were all over them. But like everything else again this year, really miles behind. Just have a quick gloss over this bit. These are the cabbages. It's getting a bit dark and shaded in this bit, but they're growing quite well. It's a bit more sheltered in this spot. If you can see, I've got like a fence all the way around it, and stuff seems to get a bit warmer. But they're doing all right. Needs a bit of weeding doing, but they seem to be growing better in this bed than in the other one. Now you've not got to laugh at these, right? My my leek seedlings have been absolutely pitiful this year. I grew them a bit late and they're just not grown. I've grown them in that rubbish compost. So I thought they need to go out anyway, so I've done what you always do and just dig a little 6-inch hole and drop each one in. But they are absolutely woeful this year. They're hardly sticking out of the top, so we'll see what sort of result we get from those. Might even get a better crop actually planting rubbish ones than letting them grow big and then planting them, so we'll see. The onions doing alright now. They should be starting to bulb up in the next sort of two weeks or so, because we're getting to the longest day, 21st of June, and that's when they start to put the weight of the bulbs on. So I'll give them a bit of a feed of some sort of high potash fertiliser to try and bulk them up a little bit. But I'm not after any big ones, they're just like normal run-of-the-mill onions, no show ones or anything. I don't know whether you can see, we've had lots of hailstones, and the leaves you probably can't see, got really battered by them, and it's just bruised them. So that's another thing that's been happening, hailstone as well as the gales. Shallots, way behind last year again, like everyone's having. Seems to be sort of miles behind, just starting to split, no sign of any bulbing up yet, but seem to be growing okay, but just like I said, just waiting for them to start swelling up. Right, because my leeks were so pitiful, I've tried a different way of growing them this year. Instead of growing them in holes, I've just dug a little tiny trench out, about 6 inches deep, and just sort of planted them on the flat, not buried them, and then hopefully if and when they do start to get bigger, I'll just sort of push the sand around the stalks to blanch the stems to make them white that way. That's actually how they do it commercially. They plant them flat and then they plough all the soil up against them. But they do it a bit earlier commercially. That's why you can sometimes get sandy leeks. It's when they get soil in between the leaves early on. So I'll wait till they're quite big before I do start doing that. Got all my Giant Marrows planted out now. These were just to keep all the wind off. It's going to be quite warm, but they've got plenty of ventilation. If you see, there's a hole at each end, and I jack it up on bricks because they are a bit fragile at this sort of time, this early stage. I'll just get in, if you can see, show you what they're like. They're quite big. I've got some from some Giant supplies this year. I've got one from like 160 pounder and some 130 pounders, so we'll see how we do this year. But so far so good. It's just a right laugh growing them, to be honest. So I'm growing 6 this year. I've got 2 that I'm taking seriously in this bed with the proper soil. And then if I just look over here, this is a bit of a mess over here. This is where I grow my fruit and God knows what, a bit of a junk store. We've got one there in a big pit, another one there in another big pit, and another one over there with a bit more rudimentary protection. There's all sorts of stuff in here. There's a gooseberry bush, a hazelnut tree, all sorts of things. I did have a big rabbit in the other day. I found a nest of babies, so I've actually had to put some rabbit fencing up around the outside. Up doing Buffalo Girls again, just to keep them out, and it seems to have done that so far, because I don't want things getting dug up. A few of the show things, these are the giant parsnips in the big barrels, like double top barrels, like 5 foot tall. Growing away now, like I said, like everything else, a bit behind last year, but plenty of time for those. They're for Harrogate, so they're like the middle of September, so a good 3 months yet. Had a bit of a disaster with the carrots. Got planted 12 and 3 got eaten quite late on by slugs. So if you think slugs don't like crawling along grit and sand, well, that just proves that theory to be wrong, because they're all planted in sharp sand and grit, so they just crawled across there and nibbled them off, and 12 has now become 9. So we'll just nip into polytunnel now before the sun goes in, because it's getting to that time of night, and I'll show you what's going on in here. Can't complain about anything in here. Stuff's been really growing well. I'll just show you this basic stuff. That's my courgette plant. It's growing really big now. It's, well, not really big, but it's growing really quickly now. Now it's got its roots down. This is a silly carrot, big carrot in a pot, look, just to see how big it'd get. It's getting quite big already, look, just a single one. Those are the potatoes that I planted, replanted after I'd pulled them up. So I took the potatoes off and just chucked the leaves back in with the roots, put some more compost on, and they've taken. So might get a few little babies off them, but it's nothing lost if I don't, because it didn't cost me anything. I just reuse the same compost. French beans now climbing up at last, so they're doing okay. That's the cobra beans there, and these are the lettuces are planted in the polytunnel. Look at them compared to outside. What's the difference between a polytunnel and outside at the moment? It's just ridiculous. A couple of icebergs, no sorry, they're icebergs, they're little gem ones. But one thing I'm really happy about at the moment, if I just show you this, it's my big onion. It's big as I've ever had it at this time of year. I've been measuring it, the girth of it, in the last few days, and it's putting on about 1/4 of an inch a day, up to 14 5/8 of an inch circumference now, or girth, or whatever you want to call it. So that's, like I say, it's a lot bigger than I've ever grown one at this time of year. It's this early on, so hopefully we might get a 10-pounder. Just I don't want it to get ridiculously hot, because that's when they do stop growing, but just nice and steady summer and we should be happy. Carrots are just absolutely bonkers. They're just huge. They show carrots, the stumps, they're getting so tall. It's just ridiculous. It looks like they could be ready in about a week or two. And they've got to hold on till like the 15th of September, so we might have some that are a bit too big actually, but I don't know why that should be, because they've only been planted in seed sowing compost with no added fertiliser, so they're not getting a lot of nutrition. Anyway, I hope these are big, because these are the long ones and they would benefit from being big. If you see, these are starting to grow a bit as well now, getting taller, so hopefully we should get some monsters, hopefully. What else have we got? Giant tomatoes. I haven't got a clue how you grow these. I've never grown them. They're a bit of a strange one actually. They've all started to, if I can sit down, I'll get a better view. They've all split, if you can see there, into two. So I think you're supposed to just let one grow up, so I'll have to pinch the growing tip out and then try and pollinate some of these huge flowers. But it's going to be interesting just to see how big they get. I'll grow one just normally as a normal plant and see if we get a good crop of good sized tomatoes. And then on the odd one I'll just leave I might even just leave one tomato on the whole plant, so all the energy is going into one plant, because I've got about 7 plants. And see if we can get some kind of ridiculous one. Show onions, the Kelsies, that were absolutely terrible when I bought them, the little seedlings now, they're looking okay. If you can see, it's a bit of a stretch. Compared to like when I got them about, well, when did I get them? About a month ago, 6 weeks, can't remember now. They were piddly little seedling things, so I planted them in. And they've taken now, so I'm not hoping for any monsters off them. If I can get them to about 18-inch circumference, which is roughly 1.5 kilos for a certain class, that's all I'm after really. But so far so good. And then these are the silly carrots, giant carrots that I'm growing. They don't seem to have put much size on recently, but then when I have a scrat about at the bottom, you can see the size of the carrot, and hopefully it's all fanged and forked at the bottom. See if we can get some big, freakishly big one. So I think that's it. Hang on, sorry, another giant onion there. That's slightly behind the other one. So I've got two, one in a pot and one in the bed. So just got 2 this year. My final potato in the pot, that's got 3 seed. That had 3 seed potatoes in it. So we'll see. I got about 2.5 pound out of the last pot. So we'll see what that's like in about a week, when it's had about 110 days. Now I've been using some of this stuff. It's Myco Max. It's a mycorrhizal fungi, and it's got added friendly soil bacteria and stuff. I've been using that on all my giant stuff just before I plant them, just dusting the roots with it, and it's what all the sort of growers are using now, rather than just pumping them full of chemicals. If you use stuff like this mycorrhizal stuff, it just sends like an extra root system out to your plants, because it's a fungal thing that attaches to them, and it does it so basically the natural way. So a lot of people are going more for this stuff, so I'm trying this. It's TNC Myco Max, and it's from a company called the Nutrient Company. So if you find, they do all sorts of different sort of products and stuff, like bacteria and fungi and things like that. So if you want to have a look, just have a look on the website and see if anything suits your needs. Right, I think that's about it, folks. 2-week roundup. They seem to be coming like every 5 minutes at the moment, and I still can't get a video that's not got bloody road traffic on it, can I? So anyway, sun's about to set. That's about it, folks. Another little roundup. I'll see you later.